So I just sold my crochet plushies in a physical store for the last 4 months. In this video, I'm going to share what worked, what didn't, what I learned, and why I just pulled all my inventory. I wasn't planning on selling my plushies in a physical store. I felt like it was a far off dream because I'd only been doing markets for 8 months and I was part-time. But what happened was I was at a market and a store owner of a vendor like antique space where you rent a space and sell items in your booth approached me and said that my plushies would like fly off the shelves, and she really wanted me to come see the store. And the booth fee, or not the booth fee, but the monthly fee was almost the same as like if I was going to be at a market anyway. So I thought, sure, why not? Let's try this. As the months went by, I realized that I was really missing that excitement you get when you see people purchase your plushies in person. You get to see what they pick, you get to see or talk to them and engage why they're choosing something that they're choosing, instead of just kind of getting a sale, on your phone and like you sold something. It just wasn't as fun and exciting. I hadn't planned that January and February would be some of the slowest months to be inside of a store. And after the booth fee and the commission rate, I just wasn't profiting at the rate that I was expecting to. And it just wasn't as fun as going to a market. It took more maintenance than I had expected, and I just felt so disconnected from the selling process that I had enjoyed so much those 8 months prior. Today, I'm sharing my experience from setup to sales and ultimately why I decided to pull my inventory. I hope that my story today helps you create a decision if you'd like to sell in a store, or any tips to maybe find the right store for you. Let's break down the numbers, because that's my favorite part of any video, is really getting into the nitty-gritty. I'm not holding anything back. The wall I was selling on was about a half wall space, and I was paying $80 a month just for that space alone. Then I was giving 20% commission off of anything I sold. So here's how it played out month to month. November was super, super exciting because it was the first month that I was in the store. My husband had made these beautiful wooden shelves for me to place all of my plushies on. I had a vision on how to organize them, and I was ready to go. In the first month, I sold 17 plushies. For me, that was super exciting to see the sales come in, go to the shop, kind of zhuzh things up a little bit. And then that profit of sales was $214. So after the commission and the booth fee, so the 20% commission and the booth fee of $80, it only comes out to actually $91.80 of profit, which if you divide it by 17 plushies, that's only $5.40 a plushie. So it kind of was like, oh, I felt like I sold a lot, but I didn't profit nearly close to what I would have at a market, because at a market you pay one fee, there's no commission. And for 17 plushies, I would have made way more than $91. In December, I only sold 8 plushies. So I don't know if I had exhausted the market by then, but I only sold 8 plushies. It was a total of $123.90. So after the booth fee and the commissions, I took home a check of $19.12, averaging $2.39 a plushie. So you can see at this point, I'm actually already starting to be like, I don't think I made the best decision for me. January was the slowest month, which is to be expected. None of us really do markets in January. Everyone has spent on Christmas and they're all on a new kick to save money and be a better you in the new year. So I sold one capybara plushie for $8. And after fees and commission, I lost $73.60 that month. So when February came, I had already told the shop owner that I was going to be pulling my plushies. And with the contract, you have to give a month notice. So I gave the notice in January at the end of the month, and I was going to be pulling my stuff in February. So February, I sold 11 items. I made $152.14 in sales. So my profit after the commission, after the booth fee, was $41.71, about $3.79 a plushie. Even when items sold, the profit margin was so low that it was barely covering material costs. It was kind of eating away at my heart knowing that all the time I was spending crocheting these plushies and I was earning $2 to $5 per plushie. That's not a livable wage. And also too, the time I was spending to make them, I was doing it after school, like every single day and all through the weekend. And then they just weren't profiting at the store. I had even upped the prices of my things about 20% compared to like what I would do at markets to try to cover the commission costs. but with the booth fee and the commission, it just wasn't working for my handmade plushies and the time it takes for me to make them. On top of that, my husband and I spent about $100 in materials to buy brackets for the shelvings, to buy the wood, to assemble the shelves, to take the time to go in the store and set it up to everything that we were liking. So I really took a hit with experimenting with this store in general. I quickly realized that the numbers just weren't adding up. Despite the challenges, I still was able to use it as kind of like market research. I had some top sellers in the shop that were more consistent than others, such as my chunky frogs and anything axolotl, capybaras, emotional support pickles. Those were kind of the small items that were selling. Things that were like $10 to $12 seemed to be the ticket. And that just made me realize I need to make more of those for markets. So that helped a lot. If you'd like me to make a video of all of my favorite small item plushies I like to bring at markets, then let me know in the comments below and I'll get on working on that. Looking back, I just wish I had researched the shop more. I think I was so enamored by being wanted and saying that the plushies will fly off the shelves, and I should have done my own research instead of just kind of diving right in. There was not a lot of foot traffic for that store. It's a great store. The owner was really nice, but it's not in a location where if you would just stumble upon it. Like, you would have to know where it is in order to go visit it. It was out of the way. It was kind of hidden within like office buildings, and it just didn't get a lot of customers throughout the day. So that was difficult to be able to sell my inventory. And then the other booths that were in the store themselves were more like thrifted resellers, reselling items from Goodwill and things like that. They were more like deals and steals instead of like antiques and like handcrafted items. So it just wasn't the same customer base. I think people that were walking into the store were looking for a great deal on repurposed furniture or some decor for their home, and not necessarily a handcrafted item. If I had known these things sooner and I had taken the time to like really think about the timeline too, because November, December, January, February, I probably wouldn't have taken the opportunity. The 20% commission and that $80 booth fee really cut into my profits. At first I was like, oh, $80, that's like a mid-sized market, except they'll be in the store all month long. But it just wasn't enough with the additional 20% commission. I also don't know if it was because I was a new vendor and I just didn't know the store personally very well. I didn't realize that they had sales throughout the month that were on top of like the commission and on top of the profit. So actually sometimes my plushies were an extra 5, 10, 15, 20% off, and then they would take the 20% cut, and then I would get the leftover, which that decimated any profit that I had a chance to get. Also, maintenance was a lot more difficult than I expected. I would go after I sold a couple things to go rearrange and zhuzh up the shelves, and then I would find, pieces of candy or things placed in precarious places on the shelves, because like my inventory caters to children. So there's a lot of hands that are going in and playing with them and then probably taking them to families. So they'd be in other parts of the store, and then I'd panic being like, oh no, I'm missing inventory. And then I would find it. So I was very fortunate in those 4 months. I never had any theft, which I'm so grateful for, but I was also very meticulous to count my inventory and every time I went in to go check. So I did notice when I went to go zhuzh up the shelves, I would sell some things afterwards, because I think, having a good layout always is important. That's what it is at markets. You have some sales and you go in and fix your shelves. But since I had to drive to the store or pretty much go after work or go after school, that was a lot more maintenance than I had anticipated to have to do. I also didn't like just having my inventory somewhere else. I didn't like being able to know, are they okay? Are they being touched with sticky fingers? Or like, I just like, I'm a control freak a little bit. And, or if I had a market, I felt uncomfortable going into the store to take some of my own inventory, even though I had every right to. So it just made me feel like I was disconnected from my product. And I actually didn't think that was going to be an issue, but it ended up making me feel kind of like, oh, I wish I had the ability to see like what sold, because it would just say, baby chick sold. Well, what color sold? And I could have gone and done all the variations of it, but that would have been a lot more time and effort to do so. So yeah, even talking about it, I'm like, whew, that was exhausting. So would I sell in a store again? At this point in time, no, I don't think so. I think I realized the lesson I learned from this is that I thrive in one-to-one personal interactions. I really like to see my plushies being handed off to the person who's so excited to have them, and I love being able to be there and see what colors sell, and I just love the market research of it all when you're in person. This shop wasn't the right fit for me. It just wasn't the right location, and it just wasn't the right clientele, but that doesn't mean a store won't work for you. In the future, I might want to go look in another location or another store. But at this moment, I think I'm really happy with what I'm doing. Since I work full-time and this isn't my full-time gig, I really like just crocheting my heart out for a market and just looking forward to that. I might look into opening an Etsy store because then I still can have my plushies and inventory at home. I can still see exactly what they buy and put all of that personal touches on it, like packaging and things like that I really enjoy. So that might be something in my future. But right now, a physical store just isn't for me. If you're thinking of being in a store, which I think all of us kind of like, ooh, that sounds like a great idea, then please don't be like me and really do the research on your shop location, the audience that goes through that shop. If it was me, I would have gone for a couple weeks and just been a customer to see, which booths do really well. I really enjoyed my neighbor's booth. She did seasonal stuff all the time and it did wonders in her booth. And I just am not a seasonal crocheter. So maybe that's what was one issue, is that I wasn't crocheting things just for Christmas and then just for the New Year and then just for Valentine's Day. So that could have also been one of the issues, because the whole store would try to change over seasonally. And also think about the commission and the booth fee. Not all stores are the same, right? So some wall spaces are a lot cheaper. Maybe it's only a 10% commission. I've heard some stores have 40% commission. So what are you willing to do? What is your product worth to you? Right now, my time feels so precious, and I just want to honor that and not sell plushies for $2 to $5 in my area. So yeah, just really take that into account and you have time. I think if I had just not been like, I gotta dive head first or this opportunity is gonna go away, if I had just taken the time to step back and be like, hey, is this actually something you want, or do you just feel enamored because someone wants you? So think about that before you go into a store. Thank you so much for joining me to the end of this video. Amazing. I am so excited to be doing this channel. So if you have any questions about starting a store or any other things that I didn't mention, please ask me in the comments and I'll totally get back to you. I love chatting with you guys. It was so fun. The last video got 10 likes and 10 subscribers, which was super exciting, guys. You have no idea how much excitement that bubbles into my heart. So please subscribe. I'm already excited. Please subscribe if you'd like more content, and hopefully I see you guys in the next week. Thanks. Bye.